Always best to leave the fireworks to the professionals, but we know a lot of you still love to light up those sparklers. And of course, this can be very, very dangerous. Join us now is Dr. Robert Emery. He is the Vice President for Safety at UT Health. Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Emery.
My pleasure.
So obviously, you see this every single year. What kind of injuries do you see in the ER?
Well, before we get to that, I would like to emphasize how serious this problem is, because if one goes to the Consumer Product Safety Commission website and gets data, the most current data is 2015, there were 12,000 firework-related injuries that wound up going to the emergency room in the U.S., and 8,000 of those were occurred between the months of June and July. So we're in a very high-risk period right now. But to your point about the types of injuries, burns, amputations, stuff lodged in the eyes, like you say, the best thing to do, leave this to the professionals and enjoy the holiday.
Yeah, and these injuries can be fatal.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, some of your viewers are probably familiar. There was a very famous pro football player who just a year or two ago suffered a pretty significant injury because they were using fireworks and it went off unexpectedly. So, there are some safety tips, but the best advice I can give people is let the professionals do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But as we mentioned, people still get those sparklers, they get those fireworks, especially out in the more rural areas. They want to do this, and they can. So aside from maybe the more obvious things, keep water nearby, don't let the little kiddos do it. What are some other safety tips you have?
My first one would be make sure you have a responsible adult, underline responsible adult overseeing this. Don't let the kids handle the things, and especially where a lot of people get into trouble is when a dud, like they lit it and it didn't go all the way off, and then they go and try to retrieve it. So those are the things you want to douse with water, as you mentioned, having water available, and don't underestimate the power of these sparklers. These things get very, very hot, and many of the burns, especially unfortunately for children, come from the inappropriate handling of these sparklers. So.
You threw out that number at the beginning, 12,000 nationwide. Have those numbers gone up over the years?
Actually, it's interesting. It's about a steady state right now, and that's good. I mean, as a public health guy, I like to see that. But what I would like to see is more people just relying on the professionals. Cook out, bring your snacks, and let the other people do that stuff.
Thank you so much, Dr. Robert Emery with UT Health. Appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.
Happy 4th.
Oh, thank you.
Back to you, Sheridan.